We are live. I am your host of the Austin Live and Local, live from the ATX podcast, Brian Kern. I am here with Peter Perez from Dreamhack. This is a little bit of a special edition show we have for you guys. We're about a week and a half removed from the Dreamhack Austin event, which is happening June 1st through 3rd. Peter is part of the promotional team. Am I correct?
Yeah.
That's what you're doing?
Yeah.
Peter's going to talk about how fantastic this event is going to be. You guys should check it out. Again, it is June 1st through the 3rd. We will be there live covering the event. We're going to be covering the cosplay competition. We're going to be covering a lot of the e-sport competition that's going to be going on. We're also going to be doing some street team work that we just decided on today. We're going to be working with you and your whole approach to getting the midday promotions going. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So, Peter, introduce yourself and what you do with Dreamhack, man.
Yeah, so I'm part of the marketing effort. I'm a marketing lead for the 50-plus ambassadors that we have here within Texas. And so we'll do different activations to try to interact with the public to get them excited about gaming as a lifestyle and how it's really this movement that's taking place where gaming is no longer just some basement dwelling, just back end, just somebody who is just, people tie it with addictions and all these other things or whatever. That's not what it is anymore. There's careers being created. If you, for parents that are out there worried about their kids, if you want them to go to college to be a doctor and a lawyer, they can now be doctors and lawyers within the esports and gaming world. And that exists. So all the career tracks that existed for the traditional sports world is now and currently unfolding and in full force, moving full speed ahead with competitive video gaming and gaming as a lifestyle as a whole. And so the collegiate side, they're making steps to help create some academia to help train people and get them ready for some of this. And that's still early stage for a lot of that stuff, but the competitions are clearly massive, right? $25 million prize pool for Dota 2 tournaments, and Fortnite mentioning they're putting $100 million into competitions. You can imagine, with that kind of momentum and the dollars that are moving in behind gaming, that it's nowhere. It's still in its infancy, but it's not going away anytime soon.
So, like you said, gaming is now becoming a lifestyle, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that people need to focus on is you have your competitions, your esport teams. It's become more than a hobby. It's now a sport, right? But now it's able to transcend into that lifestyle community and not necessarily be looked down on or judged as rough as it was in the past. Because like you said, it is when you were a gamer, you were in your basement, get off the games, get out and do something. Well, now you actually can, and you talk about it on a collegiate level. We were discussing earlier universities having gaming degrees now, full-fledged degrees in competitive gaming because it is blowing up.
Scholarships, yeah.
And now working like the wellness into it, how it's being transitioned into military job opportunities, the tech industry. It's blowing up. It's safe to say that Dreamhack's probably the best channel to really translate from the niche communities gaming is in now to the public eye. Am I correct in that?
Well, it's crossing over a lot of the industries, right? The music industry has clearly been in the festival space and creating all these amazing events. And Dreamhack has, had these amazing successes within Europe, starting out in Sweden. So maybe this is an opportunity to give a little history.
That's what I was going to go into. So how has Dreamhack affected the gaming community and transitioned it into the public eye?
Yeah, so it started back in 1994, back in Sweden. It started out just kind of like this, hackathon style type event. It was kind of offline. It wasn't
land
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it kind of transitioned into more of the gaming and entertainment, and people started bringing out their computers more and more. And so as years continued on, they started to add more elements into that. And so music became a part of it naturally. EDM's obviously very popular within Europe and within the gaming community itself. Right. And so now they're getting into the business expo side and bringing in panels and talks from prominent people within the gaming industry that talks about, the infrastructure itself and how it's unfolding and all this overlap that's taking place between traditional sports moving in and NBA 2K, Madden, right? All the NFL and NBA.
Actual drafts for those games, breaking that barrier and having it be like a... Yeah.
Even a few years ago, a lot of people would just be scratching their heads and like, what? Get out of here.
When you talk about your gaming team, like I remember Madden, like when you talked about your team that you built and like getting the stats up, like that's a thing now that you can actually be rewarded for, compensated for on a level because kids are getting so into it.
Absolutely, yeah. And so the health and wellness, again, is going to go in there because these young competitors know that if they want to be at their peak performance, that they got to take care of their mind and body. And, with that in mind, that's, again, going back to, you want your kid to be a doctor, they can do that in the esports world. world now. They can come in and help with the ergonomics of the entire gaming setup and help coordinate just kind of a balance of the practice that you have to do to be the top competitor that you can be, and also balance out your health and wellness, right? We can't just be dumping, any kinds of food in our bodies and expect to be able to perform at our best. So, that's an important element for me specifically, because I've got 2 young kids. I got a 12-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old son. They're both, budding competitors. They love gaming. It's a challenge to bring them up in this space, because they're surrounded by gaming all the time, and they think that's hey, dad's in it, so that we get to do it all the time too. They make fun of me all the time, like, oh, dad plays games because that's his job, and every time we criticize him, he says it's my job, and so they mock it. It's exactly what they sound like too. And
such a weird way to tease somebody.
It is. They're like teasing me, and I'm like, I'm being bullied by my kids. I'm like,
because teased right now.
Yeah.
What is this?
And so I admire them deeply, because they have the foresight to know that this is intended to be fun. They're just poking fun at me, but they also understand the importance of needing to balance it all, because like I tell some parents that I talk to when I go out to the college campuses and meet up at these gaming events, and I give a lot of love and support to these moms and dads that show up and support their kids that are competing. Yeah. And I tell them, like, if you didn't come out here and support them, they'd be at it alone, and may or not be able to be as successful without that support system, without somebody looking out for them, right? And so we hear it in the media, people talking about the fears about addiction and like all the violence or whatever attached to that. That's been debunked years ago. If anything, gaming has provided an opportunity for kids to find an outlet to help manage their pain and suffering, right? Quality of life improves if you have a gamified lifestyle, and for a couple of reasons. And I'll justify this by saying, one of the biggest fears is addiction, right? A lot of the parents that come in, and forgive me for just kind of like, segueing into a new topic, but I feel like this is really important to say.
Get it out, man. Get it out. That's what you're here for.
A lot of folks out there, because...
And listen up, because this is coming from someone that's in the industry that's revolutionizing exactly what we're talking about, and you have your experience, and not to cut you off, but to kind of boost you up even more into that regard is... You talked about Dreamhack starting as like these little just niche parties, and now it is the vessel for people to understand what is capable through gaming, because it's not just a little hobby anymore for a lot of people.
Absolutely
it's something that's being taken very serious.
Yeah. There's a lot of career tracks that are opening up, and parents are still out there still trying to figure out, like, how do I balance it all? How do I? My kids are in love with gaming. You ask, kids that go to school nowadays, like, how many kids play soccer? And they're like, well, I have no idea. But you ask them how many kids play Fortnite, and they're like, everybody. And that trend is going to continue to move on. And as they play more games, parents are going to be more concerned about the time that they're spending playing those games. And so it's when they start bringing up conversations about addictions and things like that, I immediately bring up a gentleman by the name of Gabor Mate, who's a physician in Canada, who deals with people that have severe addictions, and he treats them in various ways. But he distills it all down basically to the fact that somebody who is dealing with addiction, we need to redesign or reapproach our thinking surrounding the addiction itself, and not ask why the addiction. We need to ask why the suffering, right? Because there's an underlying suffering that's happening behind from either past trauma or current trauma or whatever. Is they're filling that void, that emptiness, right? With content, whatever that might be. It could be money, drugs, gambling, sex, like pick your poison. Right. Any of those substances can be addicted, but they're not inherently addictive. So you may have genetic markers, that gives you a predisposition for addiction, general, but that is not a predetermination. That's a completely different thing.
Everybody that drinks alcohol is going to get addicted.
Exactly. I mean, there's people with genetic markers for cancer that never get cancer, and there's people who have that don't have any genetic markers for cancer and still get cancer. So I mean, we can't look at this as like, my father has an addiction problem, so I have to be careful of my kid and I have to protect them. And it's like, no, it's just we need to make sure that, more importantly than anything else, we have quality human connection, right? Without it, you're left finding that connection in other things that aren't necessarily going to be with your peers or your family. And so this gaming space completely flips that all on its head by opening up this multiplayer world, the narratives, the stories that are created, the art, all the passion that goes into making gaming what it is. is improving quality of life for people who are dealing with life situations that are, somewhat difficult to overcome. And so what I would say is that, for folks that are out there like worried about the whole like school shootings and things that are going on out there, as absolutely nothing to do with gaming, and gaming perhaps, I would argue that gaming helped them prevent becoming a violent individual because it gave them an outlet to have a creative expression and to connect on a very intimate level with people, either online or connect to the stories and be related to the art and the storytelling that takes place in some of these games.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And if there's anything that Dreamhack presents to really teach people about, like obviously if you go to Dreamhack, you're going to get your gaming, you're going to get your musical artists, you're going to go there for the event itself. But what's Dreamhack trying to get people to really pay attention to? If they're teaching a lesson at Dreamhack, what is it?
I think the lesson is that the lifestyle has a place, and it certainly does have this open and welcomeness, this inclusivity, right? Nobody's ever left out, right? You come as you are, because the important thing here is that we're here to play. We're here to game. We're here to have fun. We're here to make sure that mom, dad, grandparents, young ones, whatever, have something active to be able to do. And even those that are just suit and tie, they just want to come in and conduct business, right? There's a place for them too. And, Dreamhack's kind of, breaking the scene wide open and allowing a lot of crossover between a lot of these other, silos that are out there with music, art, and, even like with the other entertainments, like cosplay is a very important one too, because that encompasses, right, the embodiment of the artwork that happens in your favorite games or favorite anime or whatever that, and then they create that and they bring it to life. And so, I like how Dreamhack really breaks all of that wide open and says, come as you are. There's something here for you, whatever that looks like.
And we were talking about that earlier, how the anime and cosplay and gaming, they all kind of transition into these very easily. You can go from one to the other, and it is translatable because you do get the creative aspect, the artistic aspect in it all, but it does also have other elements, the physicality. It's got the genius behind the engineering of the games, the programming, all that. To sum up like this nice little like video games, it's more than just having to be athletic. Like it's almost a complex, like it's not just affecting the way that like society is approaching video gaming as far as becoming competitive and allowing there to be intellectual degrees that are being earned because of it, but it's also transitioning into a way of life for a lot of people now. But I think it's eventually going to translate over to everybody with virtual reality, augmented reality. I mean, everything that's coming out nowadays is how you're immersing yourself, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And you can say that started in a gaming chair with the speakers by your ears, and you prop back for 10 hours playing whatever. I remember playing 1080 on N64 till my eyes were just bloodshot. Like I remember to now be able to have so many different avenues you can take from that one aspect, but how that one aspect of video gaming is changing everything else. It seems like media is being absorbed differently because of video games, music. It's kind of shaping the way that the future could potentially turn out. And so, I mean, what do you think that's going to look like? How do you think that impact is going to...
Well, I think I'll recall a story that happened back in Atlanta last year, which was phenomenal to me. And a friend of mine who had the experience, so I have secondhand experience with what had happened. And so he friend of mine who was kind of up late at night walking around, and a dad and his son walked up at 3 a.m. and they wanted to get inside this event, but they didn't have their badge. There wasn't anybody to check them in. And so they clearly were lugging their computers and had driven 8+ hours to get out there, right? So they had so much commitment and drive to come out there. And it wasn't even the opening day of the event. It was like halfway through the event. But it was just so important to bring his kid out to this event that he tried everything he could to negotiate with security to get inside this event. So my friend, just took it upon himself. It was like, hey, I'll take the hit on this one. Let me take him in there. Let me get them in there so they can sit down and have a good time. They came all this way. We'll deal with the badge in the morning, right? When the crew wakes up and get ready to come sign him in. So I thought that was a fantastic experience because the level of commitment and support that's really taking place with gaming as a lifestyle is that they know that it's not just for them, but they're coming in there to immerse themselves with the community.
Right.
They want to be a part of, kind of the bigger picture and what's really unfolding with it, because it's a collective effort, right? We can't do all this by ourselves. Exactly. It's like one person lifting 1 million pounds. It's fucking impossible, right? So if we got 1 million people, though, everyone's got a 1 pound of lift, and we could just, really do some amazing things with what this collective gaming lifestyle experience can embody. And so this is one of the few places where, myself included, being a parent, that I can bring my kids and I'll be completely fine with letting them sit at, an open play computer lab or like an open play setup that they have there, and walk away for several hours and come back and know my kids are still going to be there and know that they're going to be okay because they're surrounded by other people that are also there for the same purpose, just to game and have fun,
right,
and have an experience with your friends that you've probably been playing with online for all these years, but have a chance to do it in person for one weekend.
Right.
And it's uninterrupted. And that's something that we don't normally get to do unless we have friends that coordinate and go to the house. And you know what that's like when friends try to get together and game. And that may or may not always work.
8-9 hours, that's fine. On a weekend when your boys are off, you got a couple of days. But everybody has responsibilities.
Right.
And that's something that I think you're getting me jacked for it just sitting here listening to you talk about it, man. Because in my head now, I'm envisioning getting there and kind of being in a Ready Player One scenario. You're in a completely different world, and it's completely plugged in, completely simulated. You're gonna have the interactions. So go through everything. What's going to be at DreamHack? What are the people going to be able to indulge in while they're there? What are they going to take away?
Yeah,
from it?
you're going to see a lot of opening up. You're going to get in there, and you're immediately going to see all the computers are going to be there. And we're expecting close to 2,500 people that are going to be bringing their own rigs from home, which could be, different variations of, modifications they do their PCs. That's exciting alone for a lot of people.
Because they go to check. It's like car shows almost. Going and checking it out. What's your rig look like?
You see fish swimming around in people's PCs, right? You see PCs that like transformers that are opening up and like looks like it's getting ready to swallow your face if you get too close. You've got PCs that look like they're going to get up and drive away. So a lot of people take a lot of pride in their gaming rigs. And, some of them are just game developers. They're not necessarily playing anymore, but they're helping create, a bigger infrastructure for the continuation of gamification and playing and gaming as a lifestyle. And so you come in there and you see all these computers are going to be there. It's going to fill a lot of the hall immediately. And then you'll see a lot of esports stages that'll be set up with large screens. And then, of course, banners representing each game individually. A lot of fighting games. Who are some of the
bigger teams that are going to be there?
Cloud9's, of course, going to be out there again, right? Luminosity, they're going to be out there.
If there's a tournament to check out this weekend while the people are there, what tournament is it?
Yeah, oh man, my personal favorite.
They're doing Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike for sure is going to be there. The fighting games are going to be there. Hearthstone, again, another
Super
competition
Smash
there.
Brothers, I know, is
Rocket League's going to be big.
Rocket League's at a
$100,000 PUBG Invitational that's happening there. They did the online qualifier kind of leading up to that, and so they're going to have those top teams that are going to be brought out and be able to compete in PUBG. This is going to be a first time that we've had kind of a PlayerUnknown Battleground event happen at this level, and so that takes up a lot of space, right? You can imagine 4-man squads. You're going to need those PCs all set up, and so that's going to be a sight to behold. The cosplay is going to be another entertaining side of it, with people come to see. Yaya Han's going to be guest judging that one with the help of Meg Turney and Pocket. Meg Turney and Pocket both being from the Austin area,
right?
And some other guest judges that'll be a part of that as well. We'll have 80 plus Twitch streamers that are going to partner Twitch streamers that are going to be on site streaming from the stream
Can you give
studio.
us some of the names? What are some of the bigger names?
Well, we've got some celebrity announcements that are going to be coming out soon. So you've got to check the website when those announcements come in a few days. And so we've got some folks that are out there that are going to get really big in the streaming world that are going to be making an appearance out there.
Very cool.
So we'll be really excited to kind of see how all of this comes together. The cosplay, of course, is just one small part of the bigger picture, and of course leading into the music, right? On Friday night, Cruella's going to be headlining that one. Pegboard Nerds, Tokyo Machine, they're going to be jumping in and entertaining people starting at 7 p.m. on Friday. In fact, that's it's going to be really exciting for that, because this is going to be a really big turn of events for the music. So we just got bigger and better comparative to the previous years. More music, more cosplay, more gaming. The expo floor itself, which is going to have a lot of the VR and experience with a lot of the vendors that are there creating products for the gaming lifestyle community. We're going to have some folks that'll be out there showcasing some of their, the latest tech that they've got for people to get their hands on. And so that's an exciting part for a lot of these business guys that are out there that want to find a unique way to layer that into their business model. And so take your pick. I mean, how can you not be excited from the prospect of seeing gaming culture emerge in
like
such
its
a way
highest degree,
over a
it
weekend.
seems. Right, and it is 24 hours. You said
Yeah.
uninterrupted. You are essentially stepping into the matrix, getting connected, getting everything all at once,
Yeah.
being able to absorb it all, being able to spend time with it. I know we're super excited for the cosplay. That was a big portion that we were involved in. I'm excited to be there and document it in a way, because I really think that it's not going to be. It's not going to be one story you're going to get from it. There's going to be so many different stories going on this week or next weekend, and it's really, I think, gonna send a real big message, not just to the gaming community, but to everybody that's paying attention to anything gaming related, anything it's kind of second reality related, really. I mean, and you connect online, whether it be through a mobile device. I mean, there's going to be mobile tournaments, which blows my mind. Mobile people on their phones in competitions at this event.
Yeah,
so,
there'll be a big Magic the Gathering tournament too. So there's going to be tabletop games. That's a $10,000 tournament right there.
We partnered with Dragon's Lair last weekend, and we went to one of their events, and Magic the Gathering tournament. That's huge.
Yeah, Cascade Games is behind that one, and they come with us at all the events that they set up and organize kind of these tournaments that happen. Right, there's going to be a mobile Pokemon Go event that'll be happening there as well. So you'll have a chance to catch Pokemon while you're there, and then comparative, right? You come in and you who's got the biggest Pikachu or the smallest Pikachu or whatever, and you'll have all these different benchmark milestone type awards that'll be given out for people to just pick your favorite way to game, and more than likely you're going to find it there at DreamHack. One thing I forgot to mention is that we're going to have panels that'll be there where folks from the industry will be showcasing some of the latest and greatest talks that they've been given kind of throughout the country, or maybe some esports competitors. I myself will be on a panel Sunday afternoon where I'll be talking to young competitors and how to gain more support from their family and talk more about esports by the numbers and kind of what the market looks like.
We'll cover that for sure. That sounds real exciting. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that presented. I'd like to see that because I know you got people listening and people paying attention now, but no, if people are tuning in, please go to that, because I'd love to see how that's positioned and how it's translated to people, because I think that that's really, and we were talking about that before we went on the air, is it's finding that translation that's really going to catch people. It's finding the best way to articulate the message, and it's
got to be relatable.
And and you have to make it cross all these different boundaries, but you guys are doing that, and that's why we're really stoked to be involved. We're really stoked that you guys are coming through Austin.
Thanks.
I know that the event blew up. And you guys are kind of expecting to be the same event last year tenfold. You guys are bringing the thunder with this one, so to speak.
Yeah.
What's coming up for DreamHack after this? What do you got going
on?
on?
So it'll be heading into DreamHack Atlanta.
Okay.
That's going to be happening in November.
Cool.
Pre-sale tickets are already available online if anybody wants to get ready for that one. Again, it's going to be a lot more cosplay, more music, right? It's going to be the same thing, right? And same thing that we're doing here in Austin, but again, we're going to add more to it. Every time an event comes around, there's just going to be more unique offerings.
Austin next year is
just try to fit bigger. More people in there until eventually, these arenas are collapsing by the weight of the gamers that are, marching upon these convention halls. And so it's exciting to see it unfold. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else to be able to move along with these large gaming events and see them unfold. I feel very, humbled to be a part of it and to see, how to get more people involved. That's really what it is. It's leading everybody by the hand. Whoever, how the hell can I get involved? Let me show you. And so there's lots of opportunities for people to do that.
It's been a blast to be a part of, man. And I appreciate your work and everything that you're putting into it. And you have a very strong message that I think a lot of people are going to cling to.
Thanks,
and I think that when it comes to translating it, you're doing a great job.
Thanks. So, I appreciate that. Yeah,
no, man,
it's been a lot of fun.
We appreciate you guys involving us and letting us be a part of it. June 1st to the 3rd, all weekend, 24 hours. Tickets are still available, correct? Day passes are $30. Weekend passes are $80, if I'm not mistaken. You got Cruella, you got Pegboard Nerds, you got Tokyo Machine. You have a ton of gaming events. DreamHack Austin, it's going to be awesome. Any final words before we get out of here?
Yeah, if there's a time now to really represent your inner nerd, this is the place to do it, right? If you've been looking for an opportunity to surround yourself and completely immerse yourself in the culture that you've fallen in love with since you were a kid, since you got your first hand on a console controller or whatever it looked like, first Game Boy, or even bring it even a little bit closer with these young gamers that are getting their hands on Fortnite and want to be surrounded by that community, or PUBG, or whatever it looks like. Pick your game. this is the place to do. This is the place to really connect with
Get
the other
invested.
communities that have existed out there all these years, but they just haven't been talking to one
This is
another.
your crash
right?
course.
This is it. This is it.
Your
This is it
assembly,
coming in.
your opening day, your crash course, your speed dating,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. This is your opportunity. Are these 3 days to really get immersed and really get yourself out there and
Yeah.
involved in the community. We're going to be continue to promote it out. Obviously, we're going to actually be doing a special little contest when we post the episode later tonight. We're going to include all the fans, all the followers of us on social media.
Yeah,
You
we'll
actually
give some
have a
passes
chance-
away to
You
some
have
of
a
your
chance to
audience,
win
yeah.
some passes, and we're going to come up with the rules and stuff a little bit later when we post the episode. But you guys are going to have a chance to win tickets to the event. We're excited. Super excited here, man. I
Awesome.
appreciate you coming on.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Brian.
brother. Yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely, Peter.
Appreciate
Peter
you,
Perez
man.
from
Love you,
Dreamhack,
man.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's fucking great. Thanks, brother.